Released back in 2014, Sunset Overdrive places you in the role of the player. That's it, just the player. As the player, or sometimes player one, you must save Sunset City from a horde of monsters called the OD that were created by drinking the energy drink known as Overdrive. Overdrive was a product of Fizco, and they don't want a word of the outbreak to get out, so they trap everyone inside Sunset City in hopes that it would all work out in the end. Along the way, you meet an eclectic cast of characters that help you in your quest to get the hell out of Dodge. From a paraplegic scoutmaster to a Day of the Dead inspired cheerleader gang that takes care of the remaining kids left in Sunset City, there is no shortage of some of the most off-the-wall characters you will come across in a game. If this sounds like a completely insane setup for a game, you haven't heard anything yet. How you doing, fellow geeks? GamerDad79 here, and welcome to another game review here on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Sunset Overdrive. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Sunset Overdrive was one of the very first games to actually come out on the Xbox One, and I've always wanted to give the game a try. I believe I got the game as part of Games with Gold, but it's also available on what is, to me, hands down, the best deal in gaming today, Xbox Games Pass. Trademark. Those who know, know. So I finally had an opportunity to give this game a try, and let me just say it's one of the most zany, wild, and out there games I have ever played. So before we get into it, guys, make sure you guys give me that thumbs up, right? The thumbs ups always help. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy the videos, please hit that share button to help GamerDad79 grow. So without further ado, fellow geeks, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox One. When you start out in Sunset City, you are an employee of the mega company Fizco, picking up trash at all local events in Sunset City. One night, when Fizco reveals its newest product, Overcharge, a strange outbreak occurs and Sunset City is besieged by monsters dubbed the OD, or Overcharge Drinkers. It seems that something is in the new drink that causes people to mutate into horrible monsters that tear people limb from limb. As the player, you want nothing more than to escape Sunset City with your limbs intact, but it's going to take some serious parkour skills and some of the strangest weapons I have seen in a video game. So as I said, Sunset Overdrive is one of the wildest games I've ever played, and the whole point of the game is to stay high and jumping around with parkour, using parkour with style, right? You're jumping around. You don't want to be on the ground when you're fighting in this game, because being on the ground can get you killed very, very easily. The game's all about using stylized moves, staying above everyone, using the buildings, grinding along power lines, and it's just absolutely amazing, right? You have to stay above everybody and everything. If you go on the ground, you're going to die pretty easily. Combat is really all about like velocity and taking care of your enemies in very stylish ways. You employ various different moves while you're playing the game. Like I said, it's all about staying high. So there's wall jumping, you got this air dash, zip lining, you do parkour skills, acrobatic moves, there's water traversal. It's just crazy what you can do in this game. You use all these different grinding rails to navigate the city streets. You can grind along the edges of buildings, on, like I said, power lines. Just all over the place. You're grinding, hopping, jumping, flipping, doing all this crazy stuff. And you're able to switch direction at will at the push of a button. The city's also filled with like all these different areas where it lets you bounce really high and do all these stylish moves. And like I said, that's really what this game is all about. You utilize all these different types of weapons that you get while performing all these parkour moves. And you're able to slow down time just a little bit while you take aim to kill all your enemies. It's really wild what they did here. Now, when you're on foot, as I said earlier, you don't want to be on foot. You're always running around. You can't like walk slow, but you can't take cover. You can't take out enemies silently. That's not what this game is about. You must rely on your agility to survive in Sunset City. If you stay on the ground, you're going to be overwhelmed really, really quickly by the hordes of these OD that are just trying to rip you and tear you limb from limb. There's a decent variety of enemies to take on, as well as different types of gang members and physical robots. However, the ones that really shine in this game, the enemies that really shine, are the different type of OD monsters that you face off against. Developers Insomniac created a wide variety of OD for you to stylishly kill and rack up all these different style points. The more style points you get, the stronger your amps are. Amps are essentially power-ups that you can use for your weapon and your character. Now this is going to sound weird, but I actually enjoyed dying in this game. And the reason for that is because of what Insomniac calls next-gen respawning. Like I said, this game came out at the very beginning of the Xbox One's life cycle. So whenever the player, right, that's what you're called, whenever the player dies, he respawns in extremely creative ways that call back to all sorts of pop culture references. During my time with this game, I'm pretty sure I saw nods to Back to the Future, right? You show up in the DeLorean, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, you pop up in the phone booth, Portal, you come through the different portals, The Mummy, and so much more. There's also a ton of customization in your character. You can choose to be male or female, and while the body types that you choose from are limited, right? I think there's like 2 or 3 different body types for male and female. The amount of customization that you can put onto your created character is just absolutely staggering and insane. You know, you can really go wild when doing all these, like when the game first starts, you are limited in what you can put on your character. You can still make a weird looking character, but as the game goes on and you unlock new costumes and different things that you could put on your character, it just gets absolutely crazy. And I made it my personal mission to design some of the craziest characters I have ever used in game. Whenever I create a character in a game, I play it safe, and I usually try to, base him off of me. And I always create a guy, I always base him off of me, and that's how I play my games. But for this game, just because of the wild, wacky, and insane nature of it, I was like, you know what? Let me go crazy. Let me do guys with weird colored hair and crazy outfits and all this other wild stuff, just to see what I can come up with. And I came up with some pretty cool things, I think, myself. I'm pretty sure people came up with even crazier stuff in this game, but I came up with some pretty interesting things, I think, while playing. The different types of weapons that you get in this game are very creative, right? There's so many different things that you can do. If you like games like Saints Row and the type of weapons that you get in the later games, you'll really like the weapons that you get in Sunset Overdrive. There's really, really crazy and wild stuff that you can do. I found myself sticking with the weapons that mimicked regular weapons because that's just my play style, but there's so many different things you can do. Like you can create these like drones that have a couple of 9mm guns hanging from them, and they'll shoot the bad guys while you're attacking as well. So there's this crazy stuff out there that you can do. And one of my favorite aspects of this, believe it or not, is that the game has a gore and a profanity filter. Okay, and this like I played the game at first without the gore and profanity filter on. It's really bloody, and they curse a lot, right? That's just the type of game they were going for. But when I put the gore and profanity filters on, it made like this green goop instead of blood, and it beeped out every curse word, which actually made the game funnier in my opinion. And for me, one thing that it allowed me to do was actually play the game while my kids were awake. It actually made the game playable, and like they enjoyed me taking on the monsters and the flipping and all this other stuff. So I was able to play this game while my kids were up. I didn't have to wait till they went to bed at night to play it. So like to me, that's something that I would love to see more games kind of implement. I think that'd be really cool to have like a safe mode or something like that. I know games aren't going to do it, right? A lot of games aren't. I think it was specific for this game because of the wild and wacky nature of Sunset Overdrive that they put this in there. But I really appreciated it as a parent, and it allowed me to play this game when I didn't have to, like I said, wait till 9:30 at night, when as an old guy, 9:30 at night's getting pretty late for me and I'm ready to fall asleep around that time. So it's hard for me to play these games at night. So it's really cool that they had this thing on there. Final thoughts. In my opinion, Sunset Overdrive is a hidden gem. While the game was prominently featured upon release, it didn't really make any lasting impressions on the Xbox One or the game industry for that matter, and that's a damn shame because I really had a blast playing it. You know, you take the traversal of Spider-Man, the fourth wall breaking of Deadpool, and the crazy weaponry and combat of Saints Row, mash them all together, and you got Sunset Overdrive. The game takes about 10 hours to beat, and to me, that was perfect. I loved playing this game, and it was kind of like a palate cleanser for me because I had just finished playing the really grim and dark Last of Us 2. Sunset Overdrive had a great sense of humor, and I found myself laughing, actually laughing, at some of the absurd moments that the game had to offer. Sunset Overdrive, like I said, is currently available via the best damn deal in gaming today, Xbox Games Pass, and if you have not played it yet, I highly recommend trying it out. Trust me, you can't go wrong. Alright, fellow geeks, that is it for today's video. Let me know if you have ever played Sunset Overdrive and what you thought about it in the comment section below. Let me know if maybe this video kind of turned you on to the game and something that you didn't think about before, but hey, you have Xbox Games Pass, I might as well give it a try. Trust me, Sunset Overdrive is a game you want to try if you like those wild, zany, wacky games and you just want something to pass the time. So that's it for today's video. Until next time, fellow geeks, I am GamerDad79. Keep on geeking on.